Yes.
Hey, yo.
What up?
How
What
you
up?
doing?
I don't know about you. I got a little more cash at the end of that ignition right there. We all found out we had some more cash coming at the end of the show.
And boy, it was,
that was pretty
flowing,
solid.
huh?
Took me about 5 minutes to think of a way to use that in the beginning of the show, but we did it. How's it going, everybody? The whole start and soon screen. I'm like, how can I work that? All right. I still got no cash in my pocket, but we had it on the screen earlier. What's up, everybody?
All right, how's it going, Psycho Joe, Just Your Average Jen, Roly, GDA Beast, Queen, Game Smashing.
And they rolling, and they rolling, and they rolling.
Wow, somebody's amped up for tonight's Reignited show.
I'm all amped up on Mountain Dew.
It's the last live show before the big one.
Big one, yes. Big go-home show this evening.
Man, there was a lot going on tonight. A lot going on tonight. We had the Grand Prix second round. We had a few debuts. We had one hell of a main event between Echo and Balaam, and we also had a impromptu match at the end of tonight with a legend from OVW and Cash Flow. All that and more tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Holy cow. Before we get into everything that we all just saw about 15 minutes ago, let's introduce the panel for tonight. On the right, left, up, down, middle, wherever you want to call him, on the screen, he is your resident masshole himself, the one and only Marky Pins.
What is good, everybody? Yeah, it was a big, big night tonight. But one thing I noticed tonight in the Grand Prix tournament, tonight was a night of halves in the Grand Prix. We saw one half of your starting lineup make it through. We saw La Isla have to battle each other to determine which half would make it through. And we saw Damon Ace have to choose between one half or the other. And we'll get into a little bit more of that very, very soon here on Recharged.
And I am your host, Johnny Deathdrop, as always. And like Marky said, I mean, this was an action-packed show right before one of the big pay-per-views of the year, Never Broken, coming to you live on Saturday on Fite TV. But before we get into everything about Never Broken, because we're going to have our own separate little segment at the end of the show. Because
there's our favorite Wildcat in the chat. Sorry about that real quick. Balaam Links in the chat just popped in.
What's up, Balaam?
Jen, hey, everybody.
We had a couple predictions from Lucas Bradwell and Coastal himself on Tuesday, giving his predictions. Tonight, we're going to be giving our predictions, mine and your predictions.
I'm here now.
Never Broken.
I missed Tuesdays. I'm sorry.
That and many more tonight, as well as reviewing the brackets for your semifinal matchups next week for the Grand Prix tournament as well, for the #1 contendership for your Ignition Championship. All right. Let's not waste any more time because we got a whole hell of a lot to talk about. So let's get into the opening contest of the evening. Pages
to talk about tonight, baby. Let's get into this. We have to.
Speaking about an opening contest here, this was a rematch from Aces Wild this past January in the quarterfinal matchup here. We had Bruce Waynes going up against Damon Ace. And what a weird ending. But rightful ending, I should say.
You know, honestly, I think justice was served here, and this is one of those you got me, but now I got you from El Presidente Peligro himself, Danger Dean. But we'll get to that very shortly. You hear Bruce Waynes, you hear Damon Ace, and you know that there's going to be a slugfest. Not a lot's going to be pretty except for Boss's elbow coming down. So you know this is going to be a battle. This is going to be a hoss fight. And it absolutely was everything about that in the beginning of the match. Both of the fellas taking their turns. Big, strong corner advantages against each other. But Ace takes that first real advantage. Big clothesline to stop Boss's momentum. Huge spine buster. We've all seen it. And he's going to get Boss up into the persona non grata, that big slam that we've seen him use. It's put away many a superstar. And we see Arius, the finest dressed ring announcer in the business, with the silkiest voice, coming up to the apron with a message from President Danger Dean himself, telling Damon Ace that from this point forward, he has to make a choice. he has to either continue with the final boss in this Grand Prix tournament for a shot at the Ignition title, or he has to walk away immediately and face face Mercury Yaden at Never Broken, coming right up for the NRW title. And Damon takes exactly 2 seconds to think about it and know, we all know immediately after this where his priorities are. He puts Boss down and walks out of the ring, gets himself counted out, and Bruce Waynes moves on to the semifinal, to the final 4 in the Grand Prix here. Damon Ace making his intentions very well known and clear to absolutely everybody, as though we haven't known. We saw what happened on Charge the other night. So we see Damon Ace just doing Damon Ace things and knowing where he wants to go and doing that right away. And Bruce Waynes finds himself with a win, and that's been tough for Bruce to get over the last couple. He's 2 for 2 in his last 2 matches here in the Grand Prix. Gets himself a win. I don't think he'll care at this point, John. A win is a win, and now he's in the semifinal match. We'll talk about his opponent in a few minutes.
That's two in a row. That's 2 in a row.
It is. It is. But more importantly, Damon Ace, with the focus and the laser eye steadfastness that he has executed, the way he came out with that laser focus towards Boss, and the way he walked out, you could tell he was staring a hole through the curtain, looking for Mercury Yaden.
Well, it serves him right for doing what he did on Tuesday.
Damn straight.
Be honest.
Damn straight.
All right. Psycho Joe, what are you doing? You are slowly becoming an enemy of the RMP faithful. Hashtag
Joe,
Dean plays favorites.
Are you kidding me, guy? Did you even see the show? Did you even see the beginning of the show? Don't even start that garbage. Go back and pretend like you actually even watched the thing before you type something like that. What's wrong with you? Hold Dean up from commentary while Dean was doing the opening. And then D'Lo got in the ring, showing that there's still some moves in there, and then he spine busters him. What are you supposed to do if you are El Presidente right now? What are you supposed to do? It's not like he disqualified him. He didn't immediately suspend him. He forced Damon Ace to make a choice, a logical, factual choice. You can't go after both. You have to pick one. And Damon Ace made his choice incredibly clear. Right down the middle where this ref is concerned.
And with that, Bruce Waynes wins 2 in a row, and he moves on to the semifinals after being in one of the biggest slumps of his career. He comes roaring back with 2 big ones here in the Grand Prix tournament.
That's one of the biggest funks we've seen in RMP recent history out of like anybody. The only person approaching it at the moment is Mick Diamond. He's having a wicked hard time, but he's wicked new and coming out. Boss has been around for a while. He had some hard times there for a few minutes there, Daddy.
His I believe, is longer. His was that right after Shocktober. So, I mean, you're talking a couple months more than Mick Diamond at the moment.
And it started by losing the big title. That's how it started. So that makes it sting even harder.
Well, looks like Bruce Waynes has a little bit of momentum going into his match at Never Broken, going up against Atiba. So that should be very interesting in itself. We'll talk about that match later on, as well as a few others. That could sneakily
be one of the better matches on the card. Masshole called it here. We'll get there, though. We'll talk about predictions later.
All right. We're hitting the ground running here. Moving on to the next match. We have a newcomer making her debut. Rachel Starr going one-on-one against the Warhammer, Lilith Grimm, who also has a big match on Saturday as well.
Yeah, and coming off what happened to her on Charge the other day after seeing Skylar Slice get absolutely decimated, knocked unconscious, and utterly destroyed in the entranceway, Lilith Grimm has that weigh in on her mind. But coming to the ring tonight, she's another one that has the laser eye focus. Her and Damon came out with a very similar expressions on their face. This laser steadfast to the future of what they want right now. And Rachel does a good job of kind of trying to wrestle Lilith this evening. She's very impressive in her debut. She's formidable. She's quick. She's got good size. But Lilith Grimm is just a walking brick wall when she wants to be. She turns the power game on. She sidesteps a quick drop kick from Rachel, and it's kind of curtains from that point in time. Big shots, forearm shots directly to the chest, kind of like that slam right back down onto the back of the head, onto the knee. Big clubbing shots again. Gets her up in the big burning hammer, throws her straight down, and it's a 1, 2, 3. Lilith so focused and so determined. Rachel had moments. She had some flurries, but Lilith Grimm was just too much of just everything that she needs to be right now. She has the asylum in her future, and at the moment, it seems to be by herself. Skylar was that tag team partner, and they were developing a very, very quick friendship with each other, and now she's lost that. So Lilith Grimm's lost a lot in the last 6 to 8 months here. She's lost quite a bit. It's amazing she's keeping her focus as straight as she is going into such a big match, John.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really disagree with you there. Lilith Grimm has her back against the wall here come Saturday at Never Broken. One thing that she is very much popular for is her tenacity and her willingness to fight no matter the situation. So I expect 110% performance out of Lilith Grimm, depending on if she can find a partner or not, whether she has to take the asylum on by herself, which, I mean, technically she kind of already has at this point for a while. We'll see what happens. And let's not forget, Lilith has not been herself either. I mean, there's been some stuff going on with the therapist and all that stuff, so
yep.
She might be finding something that we just haven't seen yet. Maybe she'll bring it on. Yep. Maybe she'll bring it on in Never Broken. Maybe she won't. Who knows?
Those seeds grow.
Exactly.
Seeds are planted where we least expect them sometimes. And when the tree starts to fruit, you never know what's going to come out of it. And we're seeing something happen to the Warhammer, to Lilith Grimm. We're seeing something.
But tonight, she was all out Warhammer and all out getting the job done tonight.
Damn straight. She was straight business tonight. Although Rachel was impressive. I don't take anything away from her tonight. Nope. She had a good debut. It's just, I'm sorry, kid. It's just another bad roll of the dice when you come to RMP. Sometimes you face those brick walls, man. We've seen it happen in the Lockettes. We've seen it happen in the men's division. But impressive. Hopefully we see her again, and best of luck if she wrestles somewhere else or wherever she does. Very impressive.
All right, moving on. And this kid has just flat out impressed me. Apparently March is his month, my guy.
Yeah, did you notice that?
Briscoe Crown going up against Kaden Koyama in the other half, the left side of the bracket, in the quarterfinal matchup here in the Grand Prix tournament. Briscoe Crown versus Kaden Koyama. Who do you have here?
And this was the other half that I left out in the intro, where half of JK Pop is already out of the tournament, thanks to the fastest match in Ignition history, which made Kendrick LaRoe one of my favorite human beings. Legit, with the boot to Casanova's face, the mask went flying. It reminded me of Zero Cool back in the day when Damon kicked his face off and the phone went flying. That was a long time ago. Look that up.
That was a couple years ago, yeah.
It was, yeah. But it was very reminiscent of that time. Casanova's mask just went flying. So now here comes Kaden in his second round match against an obviously injured Briscoe Crown. We've seen it on Charged. We've seen it on the Ignitions over the last couple weeks. This poor kid's like left leg, his knee, his ankle area has just been turned to mashed potatoes half of the time by people in these matches, but he keeps finding ways to win. Last week, we saw him win and get that big crowning achievement on Ramrock, a guy who was 3 times his size. Now he's wrestling against Kaden Koyama, a guy who has 3 times his XP and is quick as a hiccup in the ring and has some of the most technically gifted moves here. Briscoe is no slouch, but he's already behind the 8 ball. And Kaden knows this. And as soon as the bell rings, he makes a quick run right after the knee and ankle, takes down Briscoe. The big knee slam picks up his leg and just like dumps it into the canvas. And he takes over a quick advantage. Locks a half crab after a spinning toe hold. You don't see a spinning toe hold too much. That's that XP bag that Kaden can go to. And he pulls out a move that just keeps the ankle and the knee and every joint moving, causing Briscoe agony. You can see him on the canvas kind of writhing in pain. And Kaden knows it, and he just keeps going. Spinning toe hold, he's slapping the knee and leg area, like right up at the top of the knee, to kind of add a little bit of emphasis. Gets a beautiful snap, like belly to back suplex, just kind of gets him up and smashes him back down.
I'm going to interrupt. Quick offense. Interrupt you like you interrupted me. We do have a Warhammer in chat, Lilith Grimm.
There is a Warhammer in the chat, and that needs to stop. That needs to be interrupting me. It absolutely. Hello, Lilith. How are you, kid? Great match earlier tonight. No, I don't blame you. I'd stop me too. I didn't see the chat. So, yeah, no, we have an obvious disadvantage here for Briscoe. He knows it. He tries. He gets up and gets a nice quick flurry. Gets some knees. Good corner shots, but Koyama just dodges one, goes right back after the leg. Again, with that spinning toe hold. But this time, after he spins, he kind of holds it there and just wrenches that angle. It's the second time now that he's caught this.
I'm going to interrupt you again. We have an echo in chat as well.
Yes. Yes, Echo. We'll get to his match in a little while. Lilith was a skosh late for her match, but we'll get to Echo in a little while. Awesome match. That must have been different in the mind after wrestle. A good friend like that close. But Briscoe Crown, eventually what he does is Koyama goes for that spinning toe hold the third time, and Briscoe's gone to school on it and manages to roll Koyama up real quick, get him in the small package, and gets the 1, 2, 3. And Briscoe Crown gets to the semifinal. Somehow, some way, on 3 limbs instead of 4. He's down a wing. Makes it to the semifinal match. He's got to wrestle Bruce Waynes now, which... yeah, they just keep getting easier, don't they, John? But at this point in time, can you even doubt Briscoe to come up with something? Who could?
The only thing I gotta say is this man, in the month of March, past couple years, has taken down reigning champions and former champions in this tournament. Okay? There's a reason why we called him the Bracket Buster last year. And right now, I guarantee you he broke quite a bit of brackets this time around as well. Again, huge heart out of Briscoe Crown and huge gutsy win. Gutsy win for Briscoe Crown as he continues his journey in the Grand Prix tournament. And he's now in the semifinals, and he's going to go up against Bruce Waynes in the semis on the left side of the bracket.
That's going to be an amazing semifinal. Hopefully,
now,
he can get something back in that leg.
He's beaten Ramrock, who was twice the size of him.
At least.
He defeated tonight one half of your reigning tag team champions tonight as well. If he goes in next week in the condition that he's in and he's able to defeat the former Rocky Mountain Pro heavyweight champion in the semifinals of the Grand Prix, that says it right there.
I mean, even you get to the finals after something like that. If you lose in the finals, do you really lose? Like last year, he was the bracket buster. This year, he's the bracket architect. He's having himself one hell of a tournament. And like I said, on one leg, where everybody knows the injury. Everybody's been going after it. And he's still finding ways to make it past an opponent. Last week, it was the crowning achievement. This week, it was a very quick, small package that Koyama wasn't ready for. I'm telling you. Multiple ways. We've said it before. Many wrestlers, like Lilith Grimm in chat, like Echo in chat, have many, many different ways. Like Balaam Lynx in chat, we've seen win with many different types of finishes. It keeps your opponent guessing. You have no idea what's coming.
Oh, we got to keep moving.
Let's go.
So much to talk about here. We had another debut, another tag team. We're going to have a tag team.
You guys were good.
We're going to have another tag team disperse on Saturday. And to replace that, I guess, we're going to have the highlight reel be involved with RMP as well. These guys look good, I must say.
These guys look wicked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Damon and Damien, real. And they are the highlight reel.
Yeah, the highlight reel. Going up against Hazard and Brew. And Hazard,
they are a highlight reel.
And Hazard, for the first time in a while, I think picked up his first win in God knows how many months.
Oh, it's been all of them, though. that poor kid, it has been all of them. He's taken some beatings the last few times he comes out. And even tonight, he comes out with Brew, and you can kind of tell Brew's not really all about it, right? Like in the beginning, kind of like, just stay back there, kid. I got this.
Well, and he was supposed to be with Abatu.
It was supposed to be with Abatu.
And Abatu got scared and ran away.
I think Derek Stone said that he was running, kicking, and screaming with his pants around his ankles, running down the street, and people were trying to find. I mean, best of luck if anybody tried to stop them, let alone if you find them. Good luck being the person that tries to stop that and reel him in and bring him back. Best of luck to that human individual. He was at ringside. Yeah, you know, honestly, they should have sent him.
They should have sent Tommy.
They should have. He was somewhere else at the time. He must have been hanging out with Briscoe at the moment, trying to help him out.
I get him mixed up all the time. Teddy. God damn it, Teddy the Towel Boy. Where was
there's
Teddy?
3 of them.
Where was Teddy?
Is Teddy making a hot dog?
Is Teddy?
He was at concessions.
Is Teddy ever going to do something with your starting lineup here?
Dude, he holds a hell of a water bottle.
And a towel, apparently.
And a towel.
But I mean, you should have went and got your boy, man. Coach left him in charge.
That's the scariest part of the whole thing. That's the scariest part.
God damn it, Teddy. All right, go ahead.
Oh, goodness. All right, so back to this match here. The highlight reel versus Brew and Hazard. This is really interesting. When we had heard it was a Batu, and then when he comes out with Hazard, like I said, you could tell Brew kind of wasn't really all about it. However, it ended up working out very, very well. Brew starts out the match, and he is a literal house of fire with the huge power shots in the corner, the big slam in the corner. He gets up on the second rope, and he's punching. I believe Lucas had said Damien from the highlight reel start of the match, because they are identical twins. There is absolutely no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
Brew gets up on that second rope and just starts with the big corner punches, tags in Hazard. Hazard manages to get in. The highlight reel managed to get the advantage back. We go a little back and forth here. Now Hazard's reeling a little bit on the side. We see some really good tag team workmanship between the highlight reel. They're very, very cohesive. There was a really sweet leg drop side slam combination that they did off of a tag coming in, but really, really good cohesion between them. Eventually Hazard ducks a double clothesline. Brew gets back in, and then just buffaloes just are everywhere, man. You see the old movies back in elementary school of the buffaloes roaming the prairies. That's what Brew looked like, man, just throwing himself around the ring. We even see Hazard come in the ring and eliminate one of the highlight reel with a huge spear. And you're like, wow, that's a hell of a spear. Then Brew says, here, hold my horns, and goes in the corner and hits the other member of the highlight reel with an even bigger buffalo run, his version of the spear, for the huge 1, 2, 3. And Brew and Hazard get the W over a very, very impressive. This is a second debut on the show, and a second very impressive showing by the debuting parties. And the highlight reel looked really, really good in this match, but Brew was just way too much. Too focused, too aggressive. This is where he needs to stay. This aggression really suited him. How hard he was running and his war cry and everything he was doing, it really, really suited him to the maximum. And Hazard kind of almost got his ass kicked a little bit in the backside of the match, but had some resiliency to get the tag, get back in, and help the big man out, Brew, with one spear, and then Brew finishes the job. They were kind of on the same page there, but not as much as the highlight reel. These guys were good, dude, huh?
Very impressive showing. I mean, if they keep along here in RMP and they stay at the collective unit, which I'm assuming they will be, because I mean they are identical twins. I would assume they would be. They got some moxie, and they definitely got some talent, that's for sure. Very impressive showing by these two, and quite honestly, really impressive showing by Brew and Hazard. Last second fill-in for Hazard, and they were able to get along just enough to defeat the highlight reel. Honestly, I don't know what the outcome would have been if Abatu was in there, because you also got to remember there is a little bit of history between Brew and Abatu when it comes to Legion.
Oh, goodness, is there? Yes.
So I don't know where they are ever since then. I don't know if there's still a little animosity or whether there is some type of friendship there or respect between Abatu or Brew. We'll never know. But for a last second fill-in, man, Brew and Hazard looked pretty good. Yeah.
He had been having a tough time in other matches that we had, leading up to the Grand Prix here on Ignition. Hazard been kind of having a hard time, losing a lot of points. But tonight he comes up really, really clutch in the moment where Brew is the legal man, and he hits that run-in spear that eliminates one of the highlight reel brothers, gets him out of there so that Brew can take out the other one with the Buffalo run and get the win. Pretty cohesive. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty good.
When the points don't matter, Hazard will be on top.
Work tonight. So I'll go with it. It's a working theory. It's a working theory.
All right. Moving on, we have another quarterfinal matchup in the Grand Prix tournament here. We had your Rocky Mountain Dragon Atiba going up against Kendrick LaRoe, beginning the right side of the bracket for the quarterfinals.
Yes. And we see a quick start from Kendrick here. Goes for the big old boot to start, just like he did with Casanova last week when he got that 6-second pin and became the Masshole's favorite human. He went for it again, but Atiba's too good. Atiba's still too fresh, still too ready. The surprise wasn't great enough. And Atiba kicks out, so now we're going to have ourselves a pretty decent wrestling match here. LaRoe manages to keep the advantage, stays on top, and does everything he can to make sure he keeps Atiba grounded for a while. Keeps him down, holds him down. Now, he gets him in a Superdome. He gets Atiba in the Superdome, which might have been the mistake of picking Atiba up. But Atiba ends up rolling his way back out of it, climbs the turnbuckle and rolls up over Kendrick and rolls out of that Superdome. He dodges the big boot in the corner. Kendrick comes back after him. Kendrick's foot gets laid up on the top rope. He's hurting his knee now. And Atiba goes bang right for the chop block. Sees the opening and takes it. Opens the door, goes right through it. LaRoe manages, he takes a little bit of a beating on that leg, but he's still the big man in this match. He taking 0 away from Atiba. Atiba is a walking redwood tree in his own right. But Kendrick LaRoe just has that extra mass, that extra size that Atiba doesn't have. So, he can come down with a little more leverage, and Kendrick manages to stay a lot stronger. Big, huge chop in the center of the thing. Big open hand, like Big Show style back in the day. Remember, it used to tell everybody to shh. Kendrick didn't do that, but maybe he should start doing that because that chop was loud. And then picks him up for the big Uranagi, or rock bottom, if you will, on the side. And Atiba manages to kick out. Kendrick goes for the crossover senton that he likes to do. Atiba gets those knees up. That might have been the mistake in this match. If there was one mistake Kendrick made, was that after that big Uranagi, he didn't follow up quick enough with the pin and then get back on top for that crossover. He kind of walked around, gave Atiba a little bit of room to breathe, and Atiba got those knees up on that senton in the crossover. And then Atiba does a smart thing, takes a man out by his ankle and his knee, gets Kendrick in the big ankle lock, manages to have to put it on a couple different ways. Kendrick fights out, gets to the side, gets to the rope, but then Atiba gets it back on and finally cinches it in real good. Like really good. He really kneels into the ankle lock on the back of his hamstring and everything, and Kendrick has no choice but to tap in this match. Atiba found the one body part that would tap out Kendrick in the middle of this match at this point in time, and Atiba makes it through to the semifinals, wrestles a hell of a match against a bigger guy. This was honestly a 50-50 toss-up between speed and experience and just unbridled power that Kendrick LaRoe has, and Atiba managed to find that one opening and get himself into the semifinals, where he may end up having to face Bruce Waynes again at some point in time in the near future, because Bruce Waynes is in that semifinal on the other side. Lot of stories developing here in the Final Four, Johnny. Lots of stuff going on.
You also got to remember Bruce Waynes is going up against the greatest Grand Prix competitor in the history of Rocky Mountain Pro, so.
I understand that, but I just, as we stand right now, and I'm taking 0 away from Briscoe, right. But it's just the story that's writing itself right now, is that Atiba makes it through to the semifinal. We'll get to that last quarterfinal match, Balaam Lynx and Echo, in a little while, but very interesting. Atiba managed to make his way past Kendrick LaRoe tonight.
And that's the beauty about these tournaments. These tournaments end up creating stories that sometimes live in history and organization, or in wrestling history for that matter. And this one's turning out to be no exception. We just saw a rematch from Aces Wild. We have a possibility of seeing a rematch from Never Broken on Saturday, maybe, depending on how everything goes. We're seeing Briscoe crowned, becoming the bracket buster that he is, and doing it again this year.
The architect this year.
And we just saw La Isla go up against each other, knowing that they have to put aside their differences, if they have any, which doesn't look like they do. And they have to go up against JK Pop. And we saw what happened at the end of that match as well. So
can't wait to talk about that.
That's the beauty of these tournaments, folks. A lot of memories coming from these type of events. But going back to Atiba and Kendrick, I mean, look, powerhouse versus experience is a good chunk of the time the experience is going to outweigh whatever power or speed of the opponent, because it's all ring presence at that point. It's all knowing what to do in the squared circle, and really, Atiba's been doing that at a very young age for a long time, and it showed tonight against a much bigger man, Kendrick LaRoe, and I'm not going to put anything by Kendrick LaRoe either. I mean, he wrestled his ass off tonight, no question about it.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
He gave Atiba something to think about in the future, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, experience outweighed the power tonight, and Atiba found a way, clean, mind you,
clean,
to pick up the W and move on to the semifinals. We're starting to see another change in Atiba before our eyes. It's been going on for at least a month now. You might not like his new appearance. You might not like the way he's carrying himself out, but you can't deny the past month he's been getting it done. He's been getting it done right.
And I think he may be noticing the fact that, yes, there are a bunch of wins that have been following him. Many of them have been perfectly clean, like this one was tonight. And that those wins lead to gold. They lead to title shots. He's now 2 matches away from being, in the Ignition Championship match. He's 3 matches away from winning a title. Keep winning like this and people start to see, and eventually title shots start coming back. It has been a while since Atiba has held gold in RMP. And here he is coming with win after win after win. And here we are in the tournament here. I know last week he didn't exactly have to wrestle against Sergey, but then he did end up getting another opponent. And this week we see him defeat Kendrick LaRoe. These are all wins. These are all steps in the right direction for Atiba. I'm just happy he's not hitting anybody in the nuts no more.
Regardless of whether Atiba wins the Ignition title or not, when it's all said and done, you can't deny his past. And his past equals the only person to hold the Rocky Mountain Pro Heavyweight Championship twice in the entire history of Rocky Mountain Pro. That right there already gives him a very good chance at becoming another member, and I dare to say this already, a member of the Rocky Mountain Pro Hall of Fame.
He's on pace.
So
can't deny it. Can't dispute it. He's on pace.
But moving on, we have your buddy.
Yeah.
We have your buddy.
Yeah.
Johnny Casanova going up against a rare appearance by Sinboti on Ignition. That's another good thing about watching Ignition before a big event like Never Broken coming up on Saturday, is that you get to see some of these guys that you typically see on Charge and all these big events, these big pay-per-view events. Some of them make appearances on Ignition from time to time, so you never want to miss definitely the last Ignition before a big event. That's for sure.
No, you never know.
And this is no exception.
Right. Even as Johnny Casanova was coming out and in the ring, I was standing there wondering, who's he going to face? Who's his opponent tonight? And then I saw Sinboti come through the curtain, and everything was right. All was right in the world. Like cats and dogs getting along together, snow melting before it even hits the ground. Beautiful things started happening in the world when I realized it was Sinboti and that Casanova was in for one kind of weird evening, and that's good enough for this masshole right here. Johnny starts quick, though. A lot of punches, a lot of kicks, strikes all around the ring. Manages to wear down. I mean, let's just face it, there's an obvious size disparity here between the two competitors. Sin's obviously bigger. And he goes with the clubs and the punches, and he just keeps with the strikes, and he ends up wearing Sin down to the point where Sin does go down onto the canvas. He just wears him all the way down. At one point, Casanova's, Sin had rolled into the bottom rope. Casanova gets pushed away by the ref. POS takes a shot. It looked like he poked Sin in the eyes during that shot right there. So POS getting involved in this. And here we go. It's another Johnny Casanova match. And it's just like, you're not going to beat Sinboti this way. Please tell me you're not going to beat Sinboti this way. And then he doesn't beat Sinboti that way. So there's a thing in wrestling where some people like to say that people like, that he's hulking up, right? When nothing hurts and you're getting that adrenaline run. Sin doesn't hulk up. Sin weirds up. Like, he started getting weird, making really weird faces and doing weird stuff with his whole body. Even the bunny rabbits, like the stuffed animals on his boots, started like moving. I think there was a light on one of them, and I don't even know what was going on, but all kinds of weird stuff started happening. And nothing worked for Casanova. You could see the panic setting in Johnny's face. And Sinboti just doesn't want anything to do with it. Johnny goes off the ropes to try to come back for something, and it works nil, because Sin catches him right by the throat and just holds him there for about 5-10 seconds. Up, massive power bomb going right back down. And for the second week in a row, Johnny Casanova is staring up at the lights, completely questioning his life's decisions, while Sinboti this week gets the 1-2-3 over Johnny Casanova. It was beautiful. All Sin had to do was, it was 2 weeks in a row. It took one move to beat Johnny Casanova. It was absolutely glorious. And Sinboti makes that rare appearance on Ignition and gets himself a win on Ignition. Johnny, this was absolutely beautiful. I don't know what else you have to say about this, but I'm the happiest guy.
I don't really have a lot to say about this. I mean,
there wasn't much.
It's nice to see Sinboti on Ignition.
It was very good to see Sin on Ignition.
Always enjoy the company of Sinboti. But yeah, I mean, Casanova, man. We thought it was going to go the normal JK pop way, and that's how Johnny Casanova likes to win his matches recently. But not against the weird one.
No, when things get weird, JK poppery doesn't work.
And we talk about experience not too long ago in the last match between Atiba and Kendrick. I mean, this is a grizzly veteran, my dude. Grizzly veteran. You ain't going to pull anything past him, that's for sure. And he'll find a way to overcome what you're trying to do, and he'll find a way to win, like he did tonight. So,
just one huge double arm power bomb and good night time.
Yup. Moving on. Actually, before we continue, because I do this every time and I forget to do it earlier on in the show. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't hit that like button below the screen that you're watching us on, hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment on the bottom before, during, or after the show. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Dudes and Belts live shows or Rocky Mountain Pro Chargers that airs every Tuesday, or, like you saw tonight, every live Ignition on Thursdays. So there you go. And you won't miss the pre-show either, because the pre-shows for these big events like Never Broken at 6:15 Mountain Standard Time, you will get a pre-show for 45 minutes here on YouTube before the actual event starts on Fite. So you want to get the notifications for that.
There's usually a match or two on the pre-show too, so definitely check it out. Hit the like button when that happens. Go check it out on Fite. This show is going to really be one of the biggest shows that the Wimmer has seen. There's a lot going on, a lot of emotions running really high. Not necessarily competition or titles. This one's more about the stories and all the emotion that's coming out of this. Some really, really high tension going on in the locker room right now.
You also got to remember, too,
it's going to be a battlefield.
You got to remember, too, after Never Broken, ladies and gentlemen, we're only a few short months away from milestone 13.
13. What a number.
So, yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, 13's one of our favorite numbers over here on the Dudes, that's for sure. All right. Titus loves some Never Broken. We know how much Never Broken feels for Titus, and Titus feels for Never Broken. That's for sure.
Yes. And this one's going to be a doozy.
All right. We had another debut, another impressive, and I mean impressive debut from Dex Royale tonight, as he went one-on-one with a very game Skye Hossman.
My goodness, yeah. We hear from the commentators that Dex has the background in Japan with that Japanese strong style that they like to call. And I was just about to say, Skye trained at, we heard from at the New Japan in California there too. So two very similar styles. And we've seen Skye in weeks past bring this out. He's very technical when he needs to be, but he can also throw them clubs when he has to as well. So this was almost like the two of them looking into a mirror at each other. Dex is extremely impressive. He's really, really good. Very fluid. The first part of the match, they just normally like a feeling out process in the beginning of the match is like somebody will get a hammerlock and then there'll be a reversal into a headlock and there'll be that like who can take the first body part advantage. These two tried to take the first decapitation advantage in the beginning with the forearm shots that they were throwing at each other, letting each other's know, oh my, they were throwing like just barges at each other like big ships for
it's
arms.
It's a strong style right there.
It really was, man. That's one way to start a match. And both of these guys let each other know that they were there and that this was going to be a battle, and it really was. Skye gets a quick little advantage. He knocks Dex down, but then Dex comes up. Skye tries to take his legs. Imagine this. Skye tries to take his feet. So Dex grabs him, goes to hook him into a monkey flip. Instead of flipping him, kicks him straight up, then kicks him in the jaw, and in the kip up, hits him with the massive drop kick on, like, in the kip up, and then lands it. This kid, amazing athleticism. Go back and watch. This was like one of the most athletic competitions of the evening. This at least quick style anyway. This was really, really good. That move alone was just, whoa. I stopped taking notes. I had to go back and watch the rest of the match after that. Really, really good. Where are we here? POS. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right.
It was POS. All good until the ending.
Again, with POS. It was so good. The two of these guys just throwing shots at each other. POS gains the attention of Dex in the corner. Now, Dex doesn't necessarily know him. And then Skye gets the advantage right back after that. Big shots, big kicks in the corner. Dex powers up out of a chin lock, ends up getting himself back up. Skye keeps him down for a few minutes. He's got that beautiful where he reaches behind his own back in that reverse chin lock. It's not even a headlock, too. It's just the little things that you would learn. And I'm sure Dex might be one of the only people that's seen that coming. But once you're in it, it's very difficult to get out of it. He ends up empowering his way out. Another impressive show of athleticism. Some big shots. And then we see these two springboard clotheslines. One of them was off of a whip into the rope, springboard back into the crossbody, and then gets himself to the outside and does a springboard crossbody off the top rope this time, 3/4 of the way across the ring. Lands right on Skye for a huge near fall. It was so big, in fact, that Spicer had to check on Skye because Skye's his eyes must have rolled in the back of his head, or he just wasn't there. So the ref's checking up. And POS gets back up on the apron. Dex goes over to handle the problem, and before he can, he takes a clipboard directly to the noggin and gets himself kind of like geeked out and knocked up and just kind of knocked out on the canvas. And Skye sees it, rolls over, runs over, and pins him. And Spicer saw what happened, didn't see it, but he kind of saw that there was something fudgy, but he still had to count it. And he did. And Skye Hossman beats Dex Royale in what was one hell of a fight. This wasn't even so much of a match. This was just a really good fight between two guys that really know how to fight. Very impressive debut for Dex. And very impressive, again, more out of Skye that we see week in and week out. This was a much more of an even match for a guy like Skye Hossman with this strong style that Dex brought tonight.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this match started out with strong style right from the get-go. And oh my God. I mean, I can be a sucker for Japanese style wrestling from time to time. I do watch it on occasion. And when I do watch it, I'm always intrigued and involved and kind of invested in what's going on in that style of wrestling. boy, these guys got me invested.
Oh, yeah.
Both these competitors, too. And Dex Royale, man, what a debut. I can see him making some noise around these parts here at Rocky Mountain Pro, that's for sure.
These debuts tonight got better and better and better. Like, so far, all three of the debuts that we've seen from Rachel, from the highlight reel, and from Dex Royale have been very, very impressive.
Now, I understand that POS got involved at the end, and that's how Skye Hossman got the victory tonight. But for 15/16 out of this match, Skye Hossman was also very impressive tonight. Very
POS
impressive.
He just is a POS. He does it all the time. It's like living up to the namesake guy. Nice job. I know we got his guy a win tonight, but I hope somebody hits him with a water balloon. Like, once the temperature gets nicer, just ping him right in the ass with a water balloon, man. Wrecks so many good matches. Him, JK Pop.
So, Dex, congratulations on your very impressive debut against Skye Hossman. Unfortunately, you got the L in this matchup, but I definitely see a bright future for Dex. 100%.
You got the... Yeah, he did.
All right, moving on. Just like with Sinboti, someone who you see on Charge and on these pay-per-view events all the time here on Rocky Mountain Pro, especially within the past year, Lord Mitchell Taylor, the leader of the OGs, made an appearance tonight on Ignition, and he went one-on-one with the rookie himself, Mick Diamond. Probably one of the more dazzling entrances in Rocky Mountain Pro, to be honest with you.
It's solid.
Nothing beats Remy.
It really is.
Nothing beats Remy.
No, but the tunes and the lights and everything, I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it. There's something about the kid. You know, he's on a schneid now. He just come out of the Elsinore Wrestling Academy. Recent graduate.
He's got charisma.
Yes. Yes, he does.
He's got the moxie. He's got the moxie.
He's got the moxie. That's what we say around here. Yeah. That's a free mass hole word of the night, the mass holes from the two of us here. He's definitely got that. He's putting together the pieces in the ring. He's putting that puzzle together. But the puzzle builds week in and week out, and Mick is putting that puzzle together. Tonight he gets an opportunity to go against somebody that was already selling puzzles before Mick was even born in Lord Mitchell Taylor. And he's got the XP to prove it. He outlasts Mick tonight. Mick tries everything he possibly can. Lord Mitchell Taylor's already seen it and been here and done that before. He tries to come out real quick with a couple pinning combinations. There's a crucifix in the beginning. He tries to roll him up from behind. He tries to sunset flip him. But at that point, Lord Mitchell Taylor, he's kicked out a couple times during the sunset flip. He just holds his ground and ends up picking Mick up and takes the advantages in the corner. Big shots, big boots over in the corner, wearing Mick down. Now, Mick dodges one in the corner. He dodges he dodged the avalanche there in the corner. I'm sorry, I almost said forearm. Dodged the avalanche, and he comes up with a nice head scissors, like pretty solid. He gets Lord Mitchell Taylor to the outside. Now, Lord Mitchell Taylor's trying to come back in, and Ref Alice is kind of distracted with Mick over on the other side. Mick's trying to go up and get him, and Alice is trying to hold him back. While that's happening, you see Lord Mitchell Taylor go to the bag, go to that purple, that velvet bag that he's got over there with the crown jewels in it. Well, we find out there's no jewels in it. We find out there's a big old gold chain, just big chain link that like you'd lock your garage gate with. Not some neck chain, man. Something big that could hurt somebody. Ref Alice sees it, and she gets rid of it. But as she's getting rid of it, we've seen this trick. This is the oldest trick in the book, but you know what? It works every single time. The minute the ref's not looking, he goes back to the bag, and the knucks are in the bag, and he comes up, and Mick Diamond catches all them knucks directly on his own diamond in the face, and Lord Mitchell Taylor gets a W out of the match. Yeah, Alice did not see the knockout punch with the brass knucks that he had on. So Lord Mitchell Taylor gets a win here against Mick Diamond. Losing in a lot of different ways. The wily veteran cheated to beat him this time. It's not far away. Mick tried a lot of different things in this match, but I think this was just way too much XP. Like, he went against somebody of a different level in Lord Mitchell Taylor, who kind of knew the shortcuts and figured it out.
Well, he needed a win. Because if he would have lost to McDiamond and give McDiamond his first victory going into Never Broken, and we all know the kind of match that they are going to be in on Saturday against your starting lineup, not only that, they're going to have a disadvantage as well going into that match. You can't walk out of tonight with a win. I mean, a loss. You can't.
A loss, yeah.
So he did what he had to do. Obviously, we know that Crown Royal bag always has some presence in there, and he was and he apparently loaded that bag with a few things just in case Plan A didn't work.
He had that Plan B,
he had that Plan B
coming to fruition.
So Lord Mitchell Taylor definitely needed the win tonight, regardless of how he did it, because walking out, giving McDiamond his first win on Ignition a couple days before Saturday is not a good start to your weekend.
No, that would have been rough, and the OGs are already having a hard time with Derek Stone kind of losing his mind a little bit here and there. We heard it on commentary. Yeah, we saw it on Charged. I think the guy's taking a couple gongs to the cranium a couple times. He's slowly losing it here and there. Not perpetually, but just in here and there moments where you're like, wait a minute, you still with us here? So he's there 1 second, he's gone the next. That's already something that's throwing the OGs out of sync.
I didn't know Eli was related to Alice.
Because he's absolutely not, and that's that was just something that made sense in Derek Stone's head, and he said it, and I really think somebody needs to check on him. We need a ref to check on Derek Stone. Hopefully he's okay. I hope he doesn't start yelling at the lights again and stuff like that. The scaffolding did him wrong, I guess.
All right, moving on to your last Grand Prix quarterfinal matchup here on the right side of the bracket. You basically have
This match,
La Isla, Echo versus Balaam Lynx. And what a way to start out by coming out as a cohesive unit.
They did.
The match.
Very impressive. These two friends, these two brothers, basically, stepbrothers in arms, whatever you want to call them. I don't know if there are two people in the locker room closer right now. Maybe some could argue Casanova and Koyama, and that's what's going to make everything explode so large this Saturday at Never Broken, is that these two teams are that close to each other. But unfortunately, Balaam and Echo have to wrestle each other, unfortunately for them. But they looked at it, you could tell, as they got in the ring together and they started circling. They really didn't want to, but they both knew they had to. And that's when you know that it's a thing. As much as we don't want to, let's just do it. Good handshake, very respectful in the beginning. There was no extra violence, extracurriculars taken on each other. Both of these guys wrestled a very good and a very smart match against each other. Very technically gifted athletes, and they both displayed it, especially very, very early. We've talked about that feeling out process where somebody tries to take that arm bar, and then the beautiful reversals that we've seen Lynx and Echo do, the spinning reversals, the extra go behind. We see Balaam Lynx add a beautiful drop toe hold to one of his go behinds and took Echo down real quick. I don't know if Echo was ready for that at the moment, but Balaam held it very, very tight. But no more than 5 seconds later, Echo gave it right back twice as quick on the snap. So you see these two friends that know each other so well. You have a guy who is a literal human mockingbird who can take your move and do it right back at you. And then factor in that these two guys are on the exact same page. And this match had stalemate, like basically written all over it, which it was for a very, very long time. Balaam Lynx scores a wicked sweet headlock takeover out of one of those like reversal kind of back and forths, sweet switches, just going back and forth in the ropes while they're running. It was beautiful. They were running back and forth, dodging, reversing, standing, re-whipping, reversing. It's just a technical gem when these two got together. The first half of this match was absolutely beautiful. So we're watching this, and we're watching this stalemate that is in progress from these two world-class athletes. And then that psycho, that guy, that unhinged, that lunatic, David Drake, comes back for Lucas. The camera cuts away, and he comes back for Lucas, and we witness Lucas Brown Lucas Bradwell, being dragged by his neck out of the Wimmer Arena. Derek Stone has no idea what to do. He can't get up and stop it at the moment. His headset's keeping him down. Lucas just gets dragged away. In the middle of all of this, we have this gorgeous match going on. Balaam's on the outside at this point. Echo misses the baseball slide. The Wimmer Arena is absolutely buzzing because of what's going on. You got the match, and then you have the kidnapping that just happened in the Wimmer Arena. Lucas Bradwell has been kidnapped twice in the last 2 months. I mean, that's got to break a law somewhere, doesn't it? On the outside, Echo and Balaam just keep going at each other. They get back in the knuckle lock that they end up going for. Lynx gets the advantage back on the inside. Huge avalanche into the corner. As he backs off for the second avalanche, he turns around and realizes that Echo followed him out, and that float over cutter is already on before Balaam even knows he hit the mat. And he manages to roll Balaam over and get a 1-2-3, a very quick 1-2-3. Not that the ref counted 1-2-3, but the match ended faster than I thought it would. I thought these two guys could have gone for a half hour, and it still could have been a stalemate. But Echo found that one move and just caught Balaam on his heels. Nothing to take away, nothing to be upset about. Two friends shook hands, two friends hugged after the match. Echo moves on into the Final Four and will face Atiba in the semifinals in a rematch of the Dudes and Belts Dream Match from 2021 Colorado Cup, which was Echo versus Atiba. That match was a gem. Hopefully we see something similar to that in the semifinals. But a lot going on. And then, Johnny, you've seen it.
I was just going to say, you're missing the most important part
here.
Oh, no. Now.
No, I wanted to make sure I put emphasis on the fact that Echo made it to the semifinal before I talked about those other knuckle jobs in friggin' JK Pop over there, those knuckleheads.
Well, put some more emphasis on it.
I'm about to, with Echo being in the semifinal now. This is huge. He's one step closer to being the first guy to have 2 matches for the Ignition Championship. And if he can get there, you know he's not going to miss out on that. But then while he and Balaam is being the proper gentleman, man. Good tag team, good brother. Hugging his opponent, hugging Echo, his partner. And they're celebrating at the end. They both raise each other's hands. And then those 2 idiots, JK Pop, come out. And they try to blindside La Isla. And La Isla's seen it coming. They heard it coming. They duck the clotheslines, and then they give an in unison drop kick where both JK Pop go flying out of the ring, which was absolutely gorgeous. It was like when you threw a pillow at somebody and you let it go and it just went pew. They go pew out of the ring, and they both drop their titles. And damn if not to say that La Isla looks good with those belts in their hands. They haven't won them yet, but they managed to get their hands on them for the first time tonight and hold them up in unison. They kind of gave them back to JK Pop, and JK Pop, with their tails tucked between their legs, ran out of the Wimmer Arena. But tonight, La Isla's standing tall in the middle of the ring. Even though this was a singles match and Echo prevailed, La Isla's still standing tall, and La Isla's standing united for what they have to do this Saturday against JK Pop.
I mean, there's nothing really much to say here at this point. We knew what match we were going to see tonight. We kind of had a very good understanding on how they were going to approach this match, knowing that in 2 days' time, less than that now, they are going to be going up against the tag team champions and hoping to capture those tag team titles that have been around JK Pop for far too long. I do say so myself.
Long. So long.
And again, what a great victory for Echo. Echo had to start from the bottom again at 0 when we were doing the point standings after he lost because of JK Pop to Skye Hossman in the first Ignition Championship in its reintroducing of that title. And now Echo's got a chance to do it again. And again, like you said, Dudes and Belts Dream Match from a couple of years ago, you're going to see Echo versus Atiba once again, except this time with a little bit more on the line. And that's a shot at the finals in the Grand Prix tournament. So
this is huge. This is a huge win for Echo. and an opponent that he is familiar with. So that'll add a lot more sauce to that plate of pasta that we're about to watch.
I guarantee you, even though Balaam lost this match, you know he's going to be by Echo's corner throughout the rest of this tournament.
I bet you 110%. Absolutely. No. Tonight had nothing to do. Tonight was good old-fashioned competition, and Balaam is a man in every sense of the word, and he got beat. Just one big move that beat him, but that's his bro. Raised his hand, and he's going to be cheering for him the whole rest of the tournament. I'm sure Balaam would be the first guy to hand that belt to Echo, should he win it.
All right. We thought that was the main event, but RMP had a little surprise for the RMP faithful tonight.
Yeah, they tricked the masshole, too. They tricked me on that one. They got me.
Your Ignition champion, your reigning Ignition champion right now, Zamore, got put into an impromptu match against a surprise in the debut. I think it's a debut from Cash Flow. And in case you guys don't know who Cash Flow is, let me remind you of his accolades over in OVW, because that's where he is from. He is a former national OVW champion. He is a two-time OVW World Heavyweight champion. He is also a 6-time OVW Tag Team champion. Not only is he one of the more experienced veterans over in OVW right now, but this man has also traveled the world and back wrestling.
Yes.
So you want, again, the theme on a couple of these matches was experience, and experience ended up becoming the outcome of a few of these matches. This one, on the other hand, I would say would be the upset of the night. To be perfectly honest with you.
I mean, and it's hard to call Zamore winning a match an upset. But against a guy like a Cash Flow, I mean, you could call it upset. This is, lately in the past few weeks, we've seen this attitude change out of Zamore. And in any other context, I would call it an upset. But if you're in Zamore's corner, this was a statement to everybody in the locker room. He is the Ignition champion, and he gets put in a match with a man like Cash Flow, who is of size, of stature, to go in and have you see how Titus Machiavelli, Evil Genius typed it in the chat, all caps. This was a hoss fight in every sense of the word. There was very little pretty.
Boy, those chops.
My God.
Oh, my God.
My guy. These chops tried to take Zamore's chest off. This is something that Cash Flow is known for, is absolutely like having tree trunks for arms and chopping you with them. And they were loud throughout the course of the evening. I bet you money halfway through the match, Zamore wished he wore a T-shirt. Because those chops would lighten his chest up like crazy.
You saw his chest, right?
It was, oh my God, it was like reddish pink. It looked like somebody melted a pink crayon.
Dude.
It was horrendous.
Bruised.
He was hit him so hard. My God. They trade shoulders. They trade all the big guy. They trade chops. They're trading everything. Zamore's throwing huge shoulders. Actually, scores a knockdown on Cash Flow, gets him down early, as you could. Cash had good balance and was standing toe-to-toe with Z, but Z gains that first takedown. Cash back up with massive chops, comes off the ropes with a nice diving forearm or a punch or something like that, but he definitely got it right to the top of Z's cranium, and Z went down. He gets Zamore up in the middle rope, ends up putting him up there, and then goes back for the kind of like a suicide dive through the rope, but like just onto him, the body attack, I guess you'd say. And Zamore gets out of the way, and Cash ate the middle rope pretty hard, kind of awkwardly. But he seemed to be okay. Now, Zamore at this point, something was weird, because normally we'd see him pick a guy up and go back to a chop or some big thrust kicks or something. But you see Zamore kind of look down at his hands. I don't know if it was somebody on the announce desk said he might be second-guessing himself. I don't know quite exactly what that was, but it made him pause, and it gave Cash Flow a little bit of time to get some room and get a little bit of breath. And it ends up happening where Cash gets up and basically, I mean, Zamore pulls it together and hits Cash with a big clothesline that turns him inside out. He gets a superplex up in the corner. Cash goes up to try to come down. Zamore catches him, the big superplex from the second rope, but then he misses the leg drop. Cash comes back. He's reeling now. He's a little hurt, and Zamore is taking the veteran to the limit here. That should not be understated right here. Zamore is hanging in and throwing the blows just like Cash Flow is at this point. Cash gets up with some big chops, and I think these were the chops that really did it for Z. They were huge towards the end of the match, put a little extra into it, and then the big Saito suplex. And I thought that was it. I thought that was it. When Cash hit the Saito, I thought it was over. And Z kicked out at like 2.8. Couldn't believe it. He gets back up, and there's some shots and some fists back and forth. And then Z does something very unaccustomed to Z. He just gets down and rolls up Cash. Normally, we see him go for the chancery. Normally, we'll see him go for the big splash. I think Zamore might have put the equation together in his head that a lot of these big impact moves aren't going to be as impactful on a guy like Cash who can take it. Surprise him. We've seen surprises work an awful lot in the last couple of weeks here on Ignition. And I think this roll-up really surprised Cash. And Zamore gets the 1, 2, 3 and beats Cash Flow. At the end of the match, kind of uncharacteristic for Cash Flow sometimes. However, he walks back over and goes to give Zamore a handshake and shows the kid some respect. And Zamore stands there, you could tell he's struggling with it. But then he does, and to his credit, he does reluctantly kind of shake Cash's hand for a second and then gets out of the ring as quickly as possible. And then Ignition goes off the air after this amazing hoss fight of a bonus match that we got tonight. Cash Flow looked good, but man, if this isn't some of the best we've seen Zamore look in recent weeks, I don't know how it can honestly get much better to withstand everything that Cash Flow threw him, all the chops, his chest exploding, to coming up and using his brain and finding a way to beat the Grizzly veteran on his own home court too.
Put it this way, your Ignition champion just beat a world-renowned veteran in the business. Case in point.
This is impressive.
Case in point. That's why I consider this the upset of the night. Just due to Cash's experience.
Can't deny it. It's true.
I mean, Cash looked good too. I mean,
he did?
Have you ever seen his payload off the top rope?
I have.
Ooh.
I have. When we were doing OVW reviews for a while, I was watching a lot of Cash Flow, and dude's got it. It's crazy. Throws himself around like he's like 18, but he gets a lot of wins. He gets a lot of wins.
Big win for Zamore. Big win.
It was
for
a
Zamore.
huge win.
All right. That's going to conclude Ignition tonight. Long Ignition. A lot of matches. And we still got a little bit to talk about here. Before we get into everything, I want to say that this weekend's going to be one of the busiest weekends for Rocky Mountain Pro, besides Milestone, because that weekend's always hectic as hell. But just to give you guys some info before we get into the rest of our conversation here, again, Never Broken this Saturday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Fite TV. If you're in the Wimmer Arena, general admission opens at 6:45 with bell time at 7 at the Wimmer, 2170 West Yale Avenue in Inglewood, Colorado. And you will be able to see Rocky Mountain Pro live if you are in the Denver area this weekend. Speaking of live, they will be at the Ball Arena on Friday, right after the Colorado Mammoth game. I don't know the exact times and dates because I haven't seen an actual date or time yet. But in order for you to see that event, you have to be in the arena watching the Colorado Mammoth play, because that ticket also guarantees you the opportunity to watch Rocky Mountain Pro live. Rumble at the Loud House is what the event is called at the Ball Arena. And I do believe if you end up going at the Ball Arena tomorrow, there will also be a meet and greet with Vince Russo and Sinboti as well throughout the course of the game. So during the game, there will be a stand, and Sinboti and Vince Russo will be out there signing autographs and taking pictures and doing the whole celebrity thing.
Bro.
So that's tomorrow. Never Broken on Saturday. If you guys are not in the Denver area and you guys still want to watch Never Broken live on Fite, there is a link in the description below. Make sure you click that link. It'll bring you right to the Rocky Mountain Pro Fite TV page. And all you got to do is a couple clicks, and you can actually pre-order it now before the event even happens. You don't have to do it like a couple minutes before. You can do it now at your leisure before Saturday. I believe it's $12.99. And not only will you be able to watch it on Saturday live, but you will own the pay-per-view for your entire account's existence.
Mm-hmm.
So you can watch it over and over and over again. And Sunday, of course, at the Wimmer as well. More charge tapings are coming at you. And this event is going to be free to the public. So if you want to watch some free professional wrestling over at Rocky Mountain Pro, head down to the Wimmer Arena on Sunday afternoon. I believe the doors open at 4:30 with the bell time for these charge tapings beginning at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Also, if you guys haven't watched, and I'll do the cheap plug now, if you guys haven't listened to Rocky Mountain Pro or RMP Radio by Mr. Fourth Row with Lucas Bradwell as they review everything that's going on this weekend and Never Broken, make sure you check out Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Music or whatever it's freaking called now. And all your podcasting. Yeah. All your podcasting platforms, you will be able to catch RMP Radio with Mr. Fourth Row and Lucas Bradwell as they also do a preview of Never Broken. So make sure that you tune in and kind of get a little bit of insight if you haven't been too caught up on Rocky Mountain Pro as of late. All right. We're done with that. Let's go over real quick next week's matches. All right, we have our final four, ladies and gentlemen. On the left side, you have Bruce Wayans versus Briscoe Crown in semifinal match number 1. And on the right, you will have, again, a rematch from the Dudes and Belts dream match of a couple years ago. Echo going up against Atiba in the second semifinal match in the Grand Prix tournament. Now, my question to you, sir.
Yes.
Who's moving on to the finals?
Oh, you're having me predict the whole thing right here?
Oh, this whole next 15 minutes is going to be about predictions anyway, so.
Well, it's very difficult. Both of these matches are difficult. Bruce Wayne's finally tasting some momentum, getting a couple wins. Briscoe Crown literally scratching and clawing his way to these wins, finding ways to win with a bum leg, broken ankle. The whole thing's just mashed potatoes right now. But he's finding ways to get the referee to count to 3 in his favor. It's very hard to deny that. I'm going with the upset next week. I'm going with Briscoe Crown defeating Bruce Wayne's.
Briscoe, you have to jump on the train at this point, man.
It's not even a train. It's just like a trail of facts, that he's just finding every single way to get the job done. And I'm not taking anything away from Bruce Wayne's, but Bruce knows what to expect when you're in the ring. But right now, I don't even think Briscoe knows what to expect out of himself. So at that point, it becomes very difficult for Bruce Wayne's to stay a step ahead of a guy who doesn't even know what his own next move might be. So I think that gives Briscoe Crown the element of unpredictability. So I'm going with Briscoe on that regard. I still love the boss, big, huge Final Boss fan. Love the Batman, but Briscoe is my man right now. And you're right, the guy just really doesn't lose in much. At this point, it's hard to deny that. He really just doesn't.
And Echo and Atiba.
On the other side of this bracket, these are These are literal mirror images of each other, staring at each other, both very athletic, both very gifted, both have very educated hands and feet. You know, at this point, it'd be easy to say that Atiba's been on the hotter streak and, you know, that he's just going to find a way and all this other thing. But right now, I'm looking at a guy like Echo who has so much going for him in his future coming up with what's going on at Never Broken and going down with Balaam Lynx. The fact that he does get a win tonight over his partner in Balaam Lynx and that he does have that amazing amount of support from his best buddy, Balaam Lynx, that Atiba does not have. Atiba tried to get that out of Bruce Wayne's, but he did it in a weird way, and now they're at the point where they need to butt heads. Echo and Balaam were told that they had to for the bracket's sake, but having Balaam behind Echo, I think, is going to be that moral fortitude and that just that extra uplift that Echo's going to need to get past Atiba. I'm taking Echo to make it to the finals, where we will see Briscoe Crown versus Echo in the finals, and we've seen that match before. We've seen that match on a couple ignitions, and we're dazzled almost every single time. Can Briscoe keep up with Echo on one wing? That'll be a story for a different night. I'm not predicting the winner of that match.
No, I'm not going to pick against my boy Echo in this one. I think Echo is definitely going to move on against Atiba. I have full confidence. Echo's been rolling as of late as well, even before the Grand Prix tournament. And if he clinches the tag team championships over JK Pop with Balaam, man, he is going to be riding high for sure. The only thing that could hinder next week's matchup is if Atiba beats Bruce on Saturday and becomes the subservient of Atiba, there is going to be
I didn't even think of that.
Weigh-ins in the background, I'm sure. So that's the only thing that I'm worried about. But we won't know until after Saturday. But at the same time, I'm still not going against my boy here. I think Echo's going to the finals. And I cannot go against Briscoe. I'm sorry, Brucey. But again, like you said, he just simply does not freaking lose in March. He just doesn't fucking lose. And I just drop an F-bomb because, yeah, I've wanted to go against him so many times in the past couple years in this tournament, and I keep on eating my goddamn words. He just doesn't lose. Broken ankle or all.
Everything.
So that's the Grand Prix tournament as of right now. Your semifinal matches are set. Bruce Wayne's versus Briscoe Crown, Echo versus Atiba for next week. Now,
it'll be a hell of a night. Going to be a hell of a night next week.
Speaking of hell of a night, let's get some predictions for Saturday. Because don't forget, folks, we are going to be reviewing this show on Sunday as well. We're not going to do the Rocky Mountain Rewind this Sunday. It is going to be a special episode of Dudes and Belts Recharge.
Yes.
Where we're going to be doing everything and reviewing everything and talking about everything that happened on Saturday, less than 48 hours from now.
No, we love these review shows. We're going to put the Rewind on hold for just a week, but we like doing these review shows.
So, Marky Pins.
Oh, what's up, Johnny D?
Who will be... Don't say D, because then you'll call Triple I, and then he'll just come out of nowhere.
No, he calls you Johnny D Squid.
Yeah,
he calls you Squid.
Yeah, but you just said D. You just said...
Oh, see, well, you know what happens when Triple I isn't even here? I don't even think of D jokes. Like a... So
who becomes the subservient to one another? Is it Bruce Wayne's or is it Atiba?
Bruce is going to be really mad at me. I'm going to pick against him a second time. I think Atiba's winning that match, and by less than admirable circumstances. If I'm to be quoted correctly, I don't think that match is going to end clean. I don't see that with such. We've seen the ego trip that Atiba has been on And why would, in a match like this where you could like then just boss somebody around, I think they said for 30 days is the stipulation.
30 days.
30 days. Not 31 days, not hashtag 31 days. Right?
Correct.
I think you missed the joke. Anyway,
I know the joke. I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to blow it aside. I'm trying to blow it aside. Everybody knows it's going to happen. They just got to be
how come it's okay
patient.
when you know? How come you can no sell us, but we can't no sell you? What the? Damn it. So,
Bro, I had to deal with it for the first 3 weeks after it happened, okay?
Yeah, I'm still listening to Can't Kill Maki, so shut up.
That's not my fault.
All right, honestly, I'll give you that one. All right, I'll give you that one. No, I Bruce is going to throw everything at it because he's going to not want to be subservient to anybody else. He's not going to want to have to listen to Atiba, but I think Atiba is going to be fighting to make sure that Bruce has to. And I think the mindset difference is going to be what wins this, because at that point, Atiba will be willing to go lower, like he's said in the past. No matter how anybody else goes, he'll go lower. He hasn't been doing it. Are we going to see it? I have a funny feeling that we're going to. I think Atiba is going to find a way to beat Bruce Waynes by less than admirable circumstances and force Bruce to kind of like follow him around and do his dirty work and do everything. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do. What happened?
Oh, no, I'm thinking. I don't. Both these guys currently in the semifinals of the Grand Prix we just went over. Both of them have a little bit of momentum. I think convincingly. However, I think Atiba's going to get the upper edge here. So I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to have to go against Brucey a second time.
I hate to, and I know you hate to, 100%.
Next one, Marky Pins. Who is going to say I quit? Is it going to be Dax Draper or is it going to be Curtis Cole?
This match, especially recently, where we've been watching so much of the rewind and watching stuff from back in the mid-2000s, and we've seen a younger Curtis Cole and we saw a younger Dax Draper or Sam Udell. The history is there, and you could even the promos that we saw Uncharged just the other night when they were talking to each other is a hard call. Like we've seen Curtis Cole. I think we saw him in the match at Shocktober 2 years ago. Have to give up and Stephen Ashburn gave up to Curtis Cole in that match and say, I respect you. I don't think either of these men are going to willingly say, I quit. There is going to have to be... See, I don't even know. This is so very hard to call because we've seen Curtis Cole do anything and everything, including bring 3-4 sets of knucks with him to the match. We know what Dax Draper can do. Curtis Cole's going to win this match. Curtis Cole is going to be the guy that's going to go lower. Curtis Cole is going to be the guy who is going to make sure that his hand is raised at the end. God, it hurt to say that.
Evil Genius Titus, Dax Draper, don't we know Curtis doesn't say I quit? Ashburn knows. And since we've been watching the rewind as of late, we see all these three guys. We've seen them recently back in 2016.
Yep. I've loved watching the rewinds. It does kind of fill in some of those blanks.
Curtis Cole has a no quit attitude, regardless of what you think of him now. He showed it back then. He's showing it now. He was just in an I quit match recently too against Ashburn. Titus puts up a very good point. But is it enough for Dax Draper?
And that's the ultimate question. That is the ultimate question.
Someone who has been wrestling past Rocky Mountain Pro ever since he left, wrestled in Ring of Honor, wrestled around the country, Now back in Rocky Mountain Pro with all this experience and with everything that Curtis Cole has been doing to him over the past month, 2 months, ever since Ace is Wild, man, it's gotten personal. So I don't know. I think I'm going with Dax on this one.
This one's hard. This one's really, really hard. Going by the promos that they talked to each other the other night on Charge,
I'm not even go by promos. I mean, you saw what happened during that 8-man tag match a couple weeks ago.
Truth, yes.
So I think I'm going to go with Dax on this one. Now, Marky, which tag team is going to be disbanded on Saturday? Is it going to be the OGs or is it going to be your starting lineup?
Well, the OGs won the advantage. No, I'm sorry. Your starting lineup won the advantage. So that's big. That's huge. With each of these teams having the third man. Derek Stone for the OGs and a Batu for your starting lineup. Although, hopefully they can find a Batu. We went nuts earlier tonight and went running down the street. Hopefully they reel him in and he can come back and be able to take care of business.
We've already decided that we're blaming Teddy on that. So
kind of, yeah. It's just fun to blame Teddy. It really is. Derek Stone's a wicked wild card here. Briscoe Crown's leg is a wicked wild card here.
But they have the advantage.
They do. They really do. I want to say your starting lineup is going to win this match. I'm very 50-50 because of the craftiness and the tenacity of the old wily veterans there, of the OGs, knowing how to figure things out. We saw Lord Mitchell Taylor do it tonight against McDiamond. The ref got the chain away, but then he had that second one there and managed to find it and use it and get it done. There's a lot of different dynamics when we go into these teams where it's 2-on-2 in the ring, but another guy on the outside. I'm going with your starting lineup. I think they're just too damn young and too damn strong with each other. They're a younger version of La Isla, not to that level just yet because they're both much newer, much fresher out of the academy, Al Snow Wrestling Academy. But they're very close. They're wicked tight. And I don't think they're going to let each other down. I think they're going to be there. They've been there. They've had each other's back since day one. The OGs kind of came together. I'm picking your starting lineup to win this match. Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I realize that I think your starting lineup is going to have it at the end, and they will get it done.
And I think I'm going to agree with you here. I think I'm going with your starting lineup as well, not only with the advantage that they won a couple weeks ago, but also Derek Stone has recently cost the OGs a match or two here or there down the road ever since he's been on this new... I guess you could say path in his mind.
Mental health lapse.
I won't say mental health, but
brain explosion.
Whatever it is.
Reality crossing. I don't know, something.
The last time he cost the OGs a match, he thought he was helping them and keeping them safe. Put it that way, and that was for the advantage. That was that ladder match.
That was. He ended up knocking everybody out with the Crown Royal bag.
Oh, that was last week.
He's a wicked wild card. He's a wicked, wicked wild card that can't be understated. But maybe with the third man being out there for your starting lineup, that can be quelled a little bit, or at least have some of it be taken out of the equation. I really think your starting lineup's going to get past. They shouldn't be disbanded. They're too good together. The OGs... they had their time. I think they ran up against the future one too many times in Briscoe Crown and Kendrick LaRoe.
All right. Does Lilith Grimm has what it takes to finally put an end to the asylum?
By herself? No. Not to doubt Lilith Grimm, but the asylum has grown so powerful and so connected under Salem Wolf that I don't think that the Warhammer, I don't think can defeat the entire asylum by herself. the Demon Lilith. That might have been a different match. But right now, with JC and Noelle with Salem behind them, they are a real gigantic brick wall in the face of Lilith Grimm right now. I admire Lilith's moxie and her tenacity to go after Noelle when she was trying to save Noelle and run right into the belly of the beast to go get her, and then end up being sabotaged and destroyed in the process. And then everything that's been happening to Lilith right now, I think this plays right into Salem Wolf's hand of messing with her mind, seeing her getting a couple wins, but then bang, mess with her again and destroy her tag team partner. I don't know if Lilith has enough to do it by herself. I really don't. She really, really needs a partner for this one. I'm picking the Asylum after this moment. I just, in this case of a 2-on-1, I don't think Lilith has enough for Noelle and JC. I don't. Right. Evil Genius Titus says it best. She needs a friend who could stand up for themselves. That's right.
Unless there's a miracle.
She needs a miracle.
I just don't see it. Not because of her, obviously, talent and, obviously she can fight with the best of them, but
yes,
I guarantee you there's going to be hesitation during this match. And the minute she hesitates, especially with Noelle, given everything that has happened with her in the Asylum, even before all this, when Reagan was in the picture and Reagan was being corrupted by Salem Wolf and everything, basically the beginning forms of the Asylum, she has been through a mental hell. And I have a funny feeling, I could be wrong, but I have a funny feeling that there is going to be some hesitation because she let Noelle get away. Or she feels like she let Noelle get away and she couldn't save her. Now she's going to be in a ring against Noelle at some point during this match. Will she hesitate? And the minute that she hesitates, I fear that Lilith Grimm will collapse and fall in this match. It's been a mental game with her.
There would be no time to hesitate. She wouldn't be able to, but at some point, you have to stop and take a breath. And that could be the one breath that gives the Asylum the advantage. And in that situation, that's going to be a really, really hard advantage to gain back.
Well, that's throwing some shade there.
She needs a miracle.
That's throwing some shade there, Evil Genius Titus.
She needs a partner. Like, let's just face it, she definitely needs a partner.
We haven't seen Rochelle Riveter in over a year.
That would be a hell of a partner, not going to lie.
Yeah, it would be.
That'd be a hell of a partner.
That'd be a miracle. That'd be the miracle. But who knows? We're just gonna have to tune in and watch that one. That's gonna be a very interesting one to focus on as we watch this event. Let's get into the championships. Will we finally see the end? Finally see the end of the over 2-year reign of JK Pop. Basically 2-year reign.
I just happened to look down at the chat and Zamora just happened to type on YouTube. I can't feel my chest.
I bet.
I was right about to be all dramatic about this. Sorry, Z, man. That was... Good luck with that. Some ice. Bag of frozen peas or something used to help me anytime I had a black eye. I'm sure that works on a chest too. No.
No?
No.
What do you mean no?
I have, unless La Isla, which I do not put it past them, unless La Isla comes with a plan to deal with that human road cone, Preston Obligne Skidmore, unless they come with somebody to watch their back, somebody to deal with that, It's again the numbers game catching up with everybody when they wrestle against JK Pop. I am the last man in the room who is a JK Pop fan. I love Balaam. I love Echo. But boys, you guys got to admit it, and you've seen it time in and time out, and it's happened to you guys as well, that they find ways to make the numbers game work. There aren't enough referees. There aren't enough areas to keep a guy pinned in a corner, to keep somebody like Preston or Johnny out of the way when he's not in the match, or Kaden when he's not in. They find ways to steal wins like these. And we've seen it too many times where it's like, no, I'm predicting they're losing and they got nothing and and then they find that stupid, dumb way and they end up retaining the titles. I'm a man who lives by facts. I look at history. I look and see what comes forward. And I see JK Pop finding some weird, stupid way, or Preston coming out with some amazingly old loophole from a bylaw that existed a long time ago when wrestling was first created in ancient Roman and Greek times and stuff. I don't know, something. But I foresee something like that happening and La Isla getting screwed over again. I don't want it, but come on, how many times have we seen it?
All right, I'll make it easier for you. Ready?
I'm with you, Titus. Titus, I'm so with you. 1,000,000,000.5.
I'll make
1,000,000,000%.
I will make it easier for you. Okay.
Help me out.
Ready?
Yeah.
Na 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 na.
Trust me, dude. I'm with you.
Hey, goodbye. Na,
I'm with you so hard. I'm with you so hard.
Hey, goodbye.
Please,
New tag
Echo,
team
Balaam.
champions, ladies and gentlemen.
By
La
any means,
Isla, I'm saying
do
it
it.
right now. It's going to happen. If it's not going to happen now, it's never going to happen. These boys have what it takes to get through the POS situation. Will find a way by themselves to win this match. It will happen.
Right.
And we will have, finally, after over 2 years of dealing with the JK Pop nonsense with those tag team champions, it is finally going to happen. La Isla is going to capture these goddamn titles. And for the first time, since we saw the 4-Point Cartel with those titles last Sunday, we will see these titles on somebody else.
Please. I'm really begging for it. I'm begging so hard. Please. Even Titus said it. Echo Balaam, by any means necessary. Please. And I have never said that catchphrase since the last time you told me I owed you $20.
Say it again.
I have never said it. Please, boys, by any means necessary.
Say it
proper,
again. Say it again. Over.
Oh, by any means
over,
necessary.
over.
By any means necessary. Take those belts off of JK Poopy. Take them away. Take those belts off of them. I'm going with history, and history says that JK Pop will find the way to run away, kicking and screaming, but with them. But I have never hoped in my life to be this wrong. I really hope I am the most wrong dude in all of professional wrestling come Saturday night when the show is over. Titus, I said it 5 times. That was it. I'll never say it again. I have not said it since before. Tonight was the first time I've said it since then. I will never say it again.
All right.
But damn. Please. Make me
For the love
wrong.
of God.
Please prove me wrong, La Isla. Please. 6 times. Yeah, it's like Beetlejuice. 3 times for Beetlejuice, 6 times, and Titus comes.
All right.
Love you, brother.
Will Manny Lemons make something out of his lemons? Or will Remy D make a lemonade out of Manny Lemons in the Charge Championship match?
I saw what you did there. I like it.
Yeah.
Manny Lemons is going to be walking out of Denver drinking a cup of his own lemonade while Remy D is standing in the middle of the ring celebrating because he is still the Charge champion, the most beautiful, the most illustrious, and the most just beauty and beast, everything that is Charge champion. Keeping it in Denver.
I'm firmly on board the Remy train with you as well. I think he definitely retains the Charge Championship going into the milestone season. That is for sure. No doubt.
He's been too hot, carrying it around too proudly.
The only difference is that we will have a Reka Tahaka around ringside. So that's something that he's got to pay attention to. But other than that, one-on-one, Remy over Manny.
Reka has proved, too, that she could be an absolute force in Remy D's life. But I'm sure Remy D's gone to school on all those times that Reka has involved herself with him. And I'm sure he'll see a few of those things coming and kind of send Manny away with a cup full of ice and say, take your lemons and get out of here, kid. Not taking anything away from Manny Lemons. I'm not dismissing him. Don't make that sound like I just, but Remy D right now in that arena with the faithful, unbeatable. Unbeatable.
All right. This one's probably a tough one for you as well. Will the student overtake the teacher, or will the teacher put the student in his place? Your NRW championship match, Mercury Yaden versus Damon Ace. No stipulation announced just yet. You probably won't see it until the day of.
Which is interesting. We all know that the NRW matches will always have some type of no rules stipulation. At this point, it's very difficult to call Damon just the student. He's one of those students that's literally at the head of the class. He's one of those students that, later on in life, like in college and stuff, that can actually substitute for the teacher. If the teacher had to leave, they leave that one wicked smart kid in charge. And you don't always like the wicked smart kid in class. Sometimes they're kind of dorky. Sometimes they're kind of, like the nerd and all that, whatever. Damon Ace is none of that. Damon Ace is just one of the most violent people you'll ever come across, with the most one-track mind I think we've ever seen in professional wrestling. He puts his eyes on a goal, and he goes out and does everything he has to get as close to that goal or achieve it than many other people have the moxie to be able to do. We're throwing that word moxie around. And that's one thing Damon has in abundance of, is that moxie. Love him or hate him. Look, I am not his biggest fan, but I have come to very much respect what Damon Ace can do in the middle of that ring. And I know one thing, that Mercury Yaden respects it as well. But there's also something to be told about somebody who's been there and done that, and who is now one of those teachers. And one of the things, see, I'm also a coach. I coach not to the level of like in wrestling, but in bowling. I give instruction, and I have people come in and I give them lessons. You teach people a lot. But one thing as a teacher is you don't teach them everything. Somebody has to find something out on their own. And one thing that we could say about being a wily, crafty veteran is that there's a few things that you keep up your sleeve that you bring out in moments that call for it. We have seen Mercury Yaden not shy away from Damon Ace, not once. Call him out, in fact. Stand straight face-to-face with him. Show no intimidation. And that's huge for Yaden in his corner, because so much of Damon's persona is that intimidation element. But then you're right to be intimidated because he backs it up with spades. So it's very difficult to call. I am going with the experience element of this. I am going with the man who has those letters tattooed on him, the man who holds that title belt. I'm picking Mercury Yaden to hold on to this title and win this match. And we can't say, it's difficult now to make a call because we don't know the stipulation. But in any kind of connotation, we've seen Yaden go in no rules matches. Don't doubt him. Don't look past him. I'm picking Mercury Yaden to retain.
All right. There's no doubt who Damon Ace is. There's no doubt what his intentions are. I do not see Yaden losing this match. It's gotten way too personal, and it's all been on Damon Ace's expense. I think he's going to get his comeuppance on Saturday. And I think he needs his comeuppance.
I think you're right. It's a good way to put it.
Because if he doesn't get his comeuppance, this man's going to be on a warpath. Just like the man we're going to talk about in a few seconds from now. Imagine those two holding those two belts. Who is going to start those two?
You talk about a dark day. I mean, would you doubt that either one of them would be the champion at any given time? And no, the answer is no.
No.
I would never doubt Damon Ace anytime looking at RMP if he had a title.
This right here has the feeling of Hoodie versus Yaden that we just saw.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, it sure does.
Like some of it, not all of it, but Damon making it as personal and as close to the heart.
Who knows?
As possible.
There might be a 3 out of 5 tables match on Saturday. You just don't know the stipulation.
Maki like tables. Maki like tables. Maki like tables.
It definitely.
Sorry, I had a Derek Stone moment. My bad. Sorry.
It definitely has the Hoodie and Yaden feel, and it's been that kind of a rivalry too. It's been going on for months. However, I have a hard time not picking Yaden in this one, just based off of everything that has transpired over the past 2 months. Damon has made this extremely personal, so personal that even Yaden's daughter's name got dropped in one of his in-ring segments.
And that's messed up.
It's messed up. And his wife was dropped as well. Once you get that personal, bro, gloves are off.
Dude,
sorry.
As a parent, you want to talk smack to me, you go right ahead. You start talking smack about my wife and my kids, that is a different fight you are about to walk into. Mm-hmm. That shifts a man's brain. That shifts gears.
This is probably going to be match of the night, just based off of the feel, the emotion that's riding on this match. And on top of that, we literally just watched something similar last Sunday with coach versus student, teacher versus student. What was I going to say? God damn, it is late. I'm starting to lose my mind over here. The match that we saw on Sunday had huge implications with the school on the line. This is a little bit less than that. However, it is for the NRW championship, and those letters are tattooed on Yaden's body. So you might as well just take the school away from him if he loses that NRW championship, because those letters mean the world to him.
I'm sure that feel would be very much the same.
Correct.
Yeah. And we did see, I don't want to bring this up, but since we watched it, Hoodlum did win that match.
Yep.
Hoodlum did win that match.
And we'll find out what happens later on. But
maybe that'll make Yaden fight even harder. Maybe these thoughts of that whole rivalry are going through his head. I can tell you right now, it's a very back thought because of how forward in the foreground the idea that Damon was talking smack about his family is. This is definitely, even if it's not match of the night, this will be where the beating of the night happens. One of these two guys, if not even both, are not going to walk out of this match the same way they walked in. This is not going to be pretty. This is not going to be arm drags and hip tosses and headlock takeovers. No. This is going to be an absolute slugfest where one guy would take the win if he punched the other guy's teeth out of his mouth, wouldn't care. The stipulation is going to tell a lot.
Dude's Hoodlum wasn't as evil as Damon, trust me. I don't know. Hoodlum lit a table on fire before he threw Yaden through at the last table.
Hoodlum was a tough dude. Hoodlum would just kind of whoop your ass. I kind of, from the limited history that I've seen of Hoodlum from back then, he doesn't seem that maniacal, that evil, that 100-yard stare that guys like Damon Ace or even David Drake have. That distant stare of they're in their own head and they will go someplace where somebody else will go. we've seen Damon just do whatever he's wanted, say whatever he has wanted.
Hold up real quick. First time chatter on the Twitch chat. Okay, Taven, are tickets still available? I believe they are. If Jen could post the Eventbrite link, I think it's still on there. If not, go to rmpwrestling.com and the link for the tickets should be on that website as well. And as far as I know, it's not completely sold out yet. I think there's still a few tickets available for Saturday night at the Wimmer. All right. Last match, and then we got to wrap it up because we are, for the first time ever on Reignited history, we're over 2 hours. So.
Well, we talked. There was a big ignition. There's a lot of matches going on right here.
It's a big
this
weekend.
One, though, this is the main event right here. This is the match.
Will the horror story have a happy ending? Or will we still see the continuation of the horror that is going on in Rocky Mountain Pro right now as David Drake goes up against Sledge for the Rocky Mountain Pro Heavyweight Championship?
Drake is sick. Drake is nuts. But another thing Drake is smart. He knows what he wants. He knows how to go get it. He takes different steps. But to say that he's not smart would be completely foolhardy to ignore that aspect. Sledge wants a fight. Sledge has a lot to gain revenge over. He's been destroyed. He's been handcuffed. He's been stuffed inside of plastic bags. I mean, he has been not so much taken advantage or made the fool of, but David Drake has gotten one up on him like every single time. We saw the encounter at the back of the Wimmer that one night when Sledge was looking for him, and Drake got the upper hand there too. Drake has found ways to get the upper hand on Sledge in this moment, and I think this is going to be Drake's biggest advantage in this, is that Sledge is going to come in looking for a hyper-aggressive fight. He's going to come in looking to turn the volume up to 50. The hell with 10 or 15. He's going to try to turn it up to 50. And he's going to try to just destroy David Drake. I think where David Drake is going to win this match is that he is going to make Sledge miss and then come back with the slowdown. Make Sledge miss, come back with the slowdown, and then at the end, take it somewhere, or even I wouldn't even doubt himself getting himself disqualified to keep his title. Although I don't know if it's about the title with David Drake. We're not sure. I mean, it has to factor something into his decisions, but we've seen him carry it by the side like it was just something else he was carrying, like a bag from the car when you got back from the store. I'm picking David Drake to beat Sledge. Drake has seemed to be an impenetrable object with the mind that will make you pay if you even think of stepping in his way. Not that Sledge can't, but I think right now David Drake just is too much David Drake. If that makes any sense. I don't know how to describe it in any normal human terms, just what David Drake has turned himself into. I'm picking David Drake to hang on to the title. No idea how the match is going to go, but I just really feel that Drake is going to find a way to hang on to that title and continue his reign.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because that's how Drake's winning. Sledge is going to make a mistake. We kind of saw a little bit of his frustration a couple weeks ago during the 8-man tag match. And I have a funny feeling that Sledge is just going to lay into David Drake, and the only thing that David Drake needs to do is weather the storm. Because once he does that and he finds that opening, he's going to capitalize. Remember, it only takes a couple seconds to get the mandible maul locked in on Sledge. And no one has been able to withstand 1, 2, 3, however many mandible mauls it takes from David Drake. Sledge is going to make a mistake here. I have a funny feeling. Now, maybe I'm wrong, because Sledge is also a very experienced wrestler in his own right. He is also a former wrestler from Ring of Honor as well. He's traveled. He's done the same thing like Dax Draper did. So he's basically done the same thing as Cash Flow did, just not as long. That man's got experience in that ring, and you shouldn't just count him out automatically. However, if we're picking a winner, that is why I am picking David Drake to win this match, is because Sledge is going to be overcome with emotions at some point during this match, and there is a possibility. I'm going to say this because in my mind, for the state of Rocky Mountain Pro in that locker room, I think all of them are hoping that Sledge ends up on top, especially poor Lucas.
Yeah. Please, if somebody can find Lucas, and if anybody has any information, that'd be great.
But that's the only way David Drake's winning, though, is if Sledge slips. And I have a funny feeling I think he will. And I think David Drake will walk out still your RMP champion. And I believe the horror story or nightmare, whatever you want to call this reign of terror that David Drake is on right now, could very well continue going into milestone season.
Just like you said, too, that Drake would just have to weather that adrenaline storm, that aggressive storm that would be Sledge, because that's exactly how he's going to come out. There's almost no ifs, ands, or doubts about it. We've seen the video packages. We've seen how amped up he's gotten. We've seen how he was when he challenged Drake to the fight, and Sergey came out, and it was Drake behind him. He's another one we haven't seen. If anybody can find Sergey and Lucas, please let the dudes know. That'd be great.
And Owen's been missing for about 8 months now.
Owen, if anybody, we'd love to see where these dudes are. But yeah, no, we've seen Drake. Another thing that he does so damn well, besides just getting in your head because of how sick he is that he takes abuse and punishment with a smile on his face, and we've seen it. Not saying that, Sledge is going to stop beating him up and Drake's going to smile, but I'm telling you, it's going to happen during this match, and it's going to throw Sledge for a loop. And I think that's where you said, John, that Sledge may end up just making one mistake, going for a move too quickly, or not getting it close enough, and Drake's going to take that opportunity. As much as he's turned up this sick twistedness about himself, is the more he's proved how intelligent he can be inside of those ropes. And I really think he's going to use all of it, because it's going to take all of it against a guy like Sledge, who Titus does rightfully point out in chat is absolutely no angel of his own. I had reservations when he came back and tried to make amends. We saw what happened with Remy D back last year at Milestone. Trying to turn the leaf. David Drake is just, he's in that Lamborghini doing 100 miles an hour in the left lane. How do you stop it?
All right. That's going to conclude our predictions of Never Broken, and that's going to conclude Dudes and Belts Reignited finally. This has been one of the longest shows we've ever done during the week.
Fact.
And it needed to happen. I actually warned fucking Marky Bins about it before we flipped the curtain, that it was going to be probably a lengthy show. There's definitely a lot to talk about here. And I have a funny feeling these long weekends are going to be the exact same way as well. So, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Doesn't just end with us. It keeps on going to Rumble at the Loud House tomorrow. Goes to Never Broken on Saturday. Goes to Charge Tapings on Sunday. Goes to the special Dudes and Belts Recharged episode reviewing Never Broken. We gave you our predictions. We'll see what happens. We'll watch. And then we'll give our opinions on what happened on Sunday. Because remember, after this weekend, all the road is pointing towards is that Milestone 13 sign. And I know there is a peak of the pack in between that will have Milestone 13 implications, which is why we're saying after this weekend, peak of the pack and Milestone, man. This is basically Milestone season. This is Rocky Mountain Pro's WrestleMania season. So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you're watching everything and getting yourself caught up because, ladies and gentlemen, you are not going to want to miss this ride going into Milestone 13. And it starts after this weekend.
All starts this weekend.
So, hope you guys all attend Never Broken Live if you're in the Denver area this Saturday at 7 p.m. If you guys are not going to be in the Denver area, make sure you hit that Fite TV link in the description below this video. Make sure you pre-order now or tomorrow before Saturday comes. $12.99. You own it for life. Starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. 8 huge matches on the card. We're not even talking about the pre-show that's going to be shown on YouTube at 6:15 Mountain Standard Time. That's going to be about a 45-minute pre-show with a few matches on top of that. So you're guaranteed at least double-digit matches on Saturday, with a majority of them having huge implications, not just for the next couple weeks, but for the road to Milestone 13. So, huge weekend for Rocky Mountain Pro.
Yes.
We greatly appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching the show tonight. I know it's way longer. We're almost double our normal time that we're typically on, but we have to cover everything. That's our job, and we made sure we covered every single freaking thing going into this weekend. So you guys know what's going on. You guys get all jacked up as much as we're jacked up. And boy, our weekend's not going to be over because Sunday's a big show for us as well. That's going to be another pretty lengthy one as well. So we're pulling double duty ourselves this week.
Duty.
Sounds like fun. I've never been to an RMP event, but I'm interested in going this weekend. Not only if you get the tickets.
Pisser. If you can go, go.
Not only if you go on Saturday, they also have charge tapings on Sunday for the episodes that you see every Tuesday night on YouTube. They air at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That event this weekend, those charge tapings are free. So you can just walk in there from the public and go watch some wrestling for a good 2 or 3 hours while they record more episodes of Charge. And you get to be live in the audience. You might be seeing your face on TV next week.
Hey, look, Ma, you're a movie star.
There you go. Got to do the climb to the peak of the pack to get to the road to Milestone. That's a good way to put it, Titus.
That is a good way to put it.
Thank you, Johnny, Marky, for doing Reignited. We greatly appreciate Queen and everybody else who continues to support Dudes and Belts.
Thank you.
I know
we're having fun. We're doing the thing.
I know we didn't talk about the membership-only live stream tonight. We literally had no time to do it. We're going to touch up on that on Sunday before we sign off, and we'll let you guys know what's going on with that. It is going to happen within the next week or two. Don't worry. Currently still working on it as we speak. You guys will know what's going on with that on Sunday. Other than that, that's it. Mark, you tired?
Good, bro.
You tired?
No, I'm still awake. It's been more of a second shift guy, so right now it's more like 8, 9 o'clock at night for me. I'm pretty good. I'm all right for now.
All right.
You might be tired. You got to get up early in the morning.
4 hours from now. Yep, that's about right.
Yeah. Then let's get her going, bro.
We're gonna sign off. We're gonna sign off both platforms tonight. Again, guys, greatly appreciate you guys for sticking around for over 2 hours of Dudes and Belts Reignited. For myself, Johnny Deathdrop, and Marky Pins over here, we will see you on Sunday for a special episode of Dudes and Belts Recharge as a review of Never Broken on Saturday. As always, folks, stay safe, stay classy, and we will see y'all on Sunday. Take care, folks.